And in news that we're tracking in the business segment, media reports citing sources suggest closed-door discussions that were held between India and the United States that have now wrapped up in the national capital, that is New Delhi. Reports even suggest that both sides made notable progress during the 4-day negotiations that were held. The talks were aimed at laying the groundwork for a larger agreement that facilitates trade and even rationalizes tariffs between the two countries. Note that India and US trade currently stands around $190 billion and aims to take that number to a whopping $500 billion by 2030. Key areas of focus also included discussions on non-tariff barriers, market access for agricultural and industrial products. The US reportedly requested an open market for items such as wheat, corn, and even dairy products, while Indian authorities are said to have pushed back, according to reports. However, premium US imports like almonds, walnuts, pistachios are said to be exempted. Digital trade, meanwhile, is emerging as a major source of revenue for both the nations. Improved data-related cooperation and streamlined customs processes were among the discussions. Discussions on defense exports and energy were also held, according to reports. Meanwhile, steel tariffs have reportedly emerged as a sticking point in the negotiations that were held. India, a major exporter of steel and other metals, has asked for a relief from the steep 50% levy imposed by the US. While the details of the deal are yet to be made public, both sides, that is India and the US, are reportedly committed to striking a deal at the upcoming G7 summit in Canada, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Donald Trump are expected to hold a meeting. The clock is ticking on the 90-day pause on retaliatory tariffs imposed by the US, inking a deal which is key for both nations as each of them advance separate trade talks with other trading partners. Important to note here that speaking to Le Figaro, a French publication, India's External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar said, and I quote, "We are hopeful of reaching an agreement before the tariff suspension that ends on 9th of July, end of quote." For now, the two nations are looking at an interim agreement with provisions for second round of talks that will take place later during the year. For more on this, our Assistant Editor for Foreign Affairs, Siddhant Sibal, sent us this report. Take a look.
India and the US are literally burning the midnight oil to chalk out a trade agreement. We know that the Indian External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, has said that he is hopeful that a trade agreement can be reached before the 9th of July deadline. That deadline basically relates to the suspension of the reciprocal tariffs. After that, the reciprocal tariffs come into effect. But we know that there are several layers of this conversation that has been happening. We know that the first public mentioning of the trade agreement this year was made during the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Washington in the month of February. Now, the focus remains as to how both sides can work on several elements to chalk out the differences, find the convergences, and this happening at a time when India has been in touch with the European Union for a free trade agreement to be concluded later this year. Also with UK, we know that there is announcement, both sides agreeing to free trade agreement. Now there is legal scrubbing that is awaited, and it is expected that that free trade agreement will be signed very soon in coming few months. With video journalist Siddhant Sibal for WION in New Delhi.